Hi everyone, this is Cindy Create the Heart, and I'm here today to share some projects using the Tropical Christmas from the Not Too Shabby Shop, including the ephemera. So today's focus is using dies to create scenes for your cards, using this really fun paper pad of the month from the Not Too Shabby Shop. So I am going to be just using the sentiments from this Lawn Fawn stamp set. But this first card will also be using some rectangle dies and then like a slope die. And, you know, this is just an idea to go looking through your dies to find inspiration that you can use to make scenes. So what I'm doing here is I've got my A2 size card front cut out using one of those rectangle dies. You could just cut a piece of this pretty paper in 5.5 by 4 1/4 and glue that right to the front. This just has a pretty edge to it, and I just had the die, so it's kind of fun to use. I didn't bring the die over to show you guys, but this is actually a cloud die from Lawn Fawn. But you also could use a scallop punch, and I've used scallop punches to do clouds before. So, but I'm using my dies today, so that's there in the front. And then the bottom I'm using like one of those sort of hill kind of dies. And so when you look at your paper, you can look and see like what would make snow. So I'm using this kind of white paper. It's got some like ornaments on the bottom running through it, and then I use the blue to be my sky. So you can look at the paper and kind of creatively envision how it would work in a scene. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and I've done my clouds, I've got my snow on the bottom, and now I've got my images that I'm working on. So you see that I've got that palm tree, and I wanted a little present at the bottom. And so what I did was I took another ephemera piece from this collection and I just cut a present off of it and then attached it to the bottom of that palm tree. And then for my flamingo, I went ahead and it's got a white outline, and I just cut the white outline off of it. And I also forgot to mention that I put this on foam. So you can alter your ephemera to make it work for you. So that's something that I do. I also took this palm tree and I put it on a piece of gold cardstock, and then I cut around it. And so that just kind of gave me a little bit of a shadow so it doesn't kind of fall into the paper. My flamingo is also on foam. And so cutting off that white edge also makes it be a little bit more visible on that kind of busy print there. And then I took that sentiment from Lawn Fawn and I just cut each piece individually because I wanted to be able to fit on my front of my card there. So all I did was stamp that in black and then on white cardstock, and then put each piece on a piece of gold cardstock and then cut around it. And so I've just got those on foam, and I'm going to go ahead and put those down there. And then you'll see my stars. And what I did with the stars, I did the same thing. I put them on gold cardstock and then I cut around them. And then I have those on foam as well. So kind of that's going to be our first scene using dies. I think it came out very cute. So the second card that I'm going to use is also using a Lawn Fawn die. It's one of these sort of card front dies, and it is beach themed. This is the first time I've used it, actually. I think I had it since last year. And so what I did with that is I've got my piece that's going to go there on the bottom. It's A2 sized piece, 5.5 by 4 1/4. And that's just going to go on the front of an A2 size card. And that will end up sort of being the background of my scene. And then I took a piece of the pink striped paper from the Tropical Christmas Paper Pad, and ran it through with a die. And that die also comes with pieces that you can use for different colors for the palm trees. So I did gold for the leaves, and then I did this other piece of cardstock for the trunk. And then I kind of pieced together my own little embellishment. I put a present on that sleigh, and then I kind of cut the legs off my flamingo and put the flamingo in my sleigh. And so I'm just kind of positioning where I want that piece to go. And then what I did with this whole tropical front piece is I put it on foam. And so I use the Altenew foam, and I buy it in a big thing. Anyway, I love it. It's a low profile foam, so you know, if you want it to be higher, you have to kind of double up on it, but I like the low profile. If I want to mail it, I can. But the other thing I really love about this foam is that you could cut it really easily. So these are like smallish pieces, like 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch places. So I'm able to kind of cut that foam skinny enough to fit in all of these places. And so there's a lot. I kind of pieced it together. But I do really like that foam because it is easy to cut. And doesn't leave your stickers or your scissors too sticky. So I do like that. Anyway, I'm taking off all the pieces. There's a lot. And, you know, people said, oh, this is very Florida-ish, but I think it could suit for any, you know, any place that wants to have a warm Christmas. But I live in California, Southern California, so yeah, we don't have flamingos here, but we do have beaches. So I think it's really fun. And I'm gonna go ahead and place that right over the front of my card. And I love how that came out. And then I've just got a little sentiment here. This actually is from the pickup truck stamp and die from last month. I actually had this sentiment just kind of laying there. And so I just used my favorite modern label punch from Stampin' Up, long retired. And there you go. I did some little gems, and second scene is done. So now I'm on to my third scene using dies. And so I've got the CC Designs quad collage die, which I've never used. So it was really a great way to use some of the things I don't have. So what I did was I ran it through twice. I ran it, well, a couple of times actually. I ran it through in the white cardstock, and then I ran it through, just kind of pieced together where I wanted the die to cut for all the little quad pieces. And so I was able to use scraps for this, just by placing my die very carefully over the scraps that I had, and that way I was able to actually use up some scraps, and so that was great. And so I've got all the little pieces cut out, and I'm going to go ahead and make sure that's down, place them right in those spaces. So this is just a really, you know, easy die to use, and you know, you could do your scene all different ways. I kept it pretty simple, but I was able to use a lot of scrap, so that's great. And I really like that kind of teal gold piece. To me, it's kind of like, can be used for lots of different places in your scene. But anyway, I've got it right down there, and then I've got one last piece to kind of glue in, and that's the opposite side of that golden teal piece. And so it's going to go right in there, and then I've got my ephemera pieces that are going to fit right in the spaces. So I mostly use the add-on ephemera. I know one of the cards I'm going to make I did not, but I did. We get a lot of ephemera, so I do recommend that if you do pick this up, that you pick up the ephemera too, because it goes really well with it. And you could use the ephemera. There are some non-Christmassy flamingos in there that you could save and use for other cards, different kinds of cards that aren't Christmas or holiday. Anyway, I've got all of my little pieces are on foam. And then that sentiment there is done on vellum. And that is left over from a Pink Fresh Studio holiday retreat from last year. I keep a little box of all my extra stamped things or things I thought I was going to use and didn't. And sometimes I dig through there and I find gems. So I actually need to dig through there and just make cards with all the stuff I have in there. But this worked perfectly. I have it on foam and it's going to go right there in the middle to finish off my card. There it is. So another scene. Now the last scene, I made a lot of scene cards. This one is going to be a quick one because it's already put together. So I actually used this pond die from Hello Bluebird that I've had a long time, and I've used it quite often, but you have to piece it all together, so it takes a little bit of time. So I ran it through in white, and then I ran it through in a couple of different different papers. That bottom paper, though, that is from Sweet Winter, the other paper pad in the paper pads of the month for this month. And it just works so perfectly as my pond. And then I use that teal and gold paper from my tree trunks. And I already stamped my sentiment. And I'm using that fabulous stamp set from Not Too Shabby. It's an older one. It's called Winter Wishes. And I have these cute little critters I colored with my Copics. I put them on foam, and they're going to finish off this scene card. And this one might be my favorite one. I don't know. I really like that. Maybe because I like that paper I use for the pond. But there it is. So there's a scene. That's a scene. That's a favorite too. I like how that one came out. And then there. So look at your dies. You never know what you'll find. Thank you for watching. This is Cindy, Creating with the Heart.